it's what features do you hope to provide with export and publishing? Yeah.
So exporting and publishing is clearly going to be a massive part of what we're building. And we're already getting a lot of requests from people who have the value of Tana severely restricted because they're not able to both get their colleagues or partners in because of the lack of invites at this point, but also not being able to share an external read-only link of some kind of a readable presentation of your content. So we have a lot of thoughts there, and we're very aware that in Notion, for example, that is one of their killer features. People use that in order to be able to create nice looking documents, basically. There's no reason Tana should not support the same. However, there's, as with a lot of these other questions, the complications that how far do you follow references, for example? How do you avoid leaking more information than what you intended to leak when you share a presentation? How do you scope it to only the data that you intended to share? And how do you create a nice presentation layer that does not require the reader to be familiar with outliners and sort of the navigation paradigms within Tana? And I guess I can say that we have a lot of internal prototypes for this as well, some of which are, I'm guessing, far away from what people have been thinking about when they ask us about publishing, but things that we believe really can show how Tana is going to be different in this area.
Yeah, and I think that's important to actually make clear that we want to do things not necessarily just copying or not at all copying what others do, because we want to think new about every feature we have, like how can we make it 10x, how can we make it better? And that's one of the reasons why we just don't push things out and go straight into beta. Remember, it's early access still, right? We're not even in a beta phase. So yeah.
The help center is actually built completely in Tana. It's just Tana notes and it's published. So yeah, but there, like Oscar said, there's so many different things, but definitely on one of the hot candidates. So there was another one from Andre. Maybe Oscar, you could answer that. It's about read-only links and private segments. Not entirely sure what you mean, Andre, but maybe you could write.
Love your videos, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, it was while you were talking on the publishing. And then if you publish a certain part, it would be cool if you can sort of mark some stuff as private. I think it's also good if you share a link in another graph and mark some section as private. I think it's been mentioned multiple times, whether you blur it for viewing if someone else is watching on your screen, or publishing or sharing. I think this is a generic concept that would work very well.
Yeah. So that is clearly one of the most important themes when it comes to sharing. How do you restrict the information to only what you intended to share? And we've been toying with some first steps where we essentially let you share what you see, so that whatever expand state you have, whatever columns you've included in a table, whatever data you've included in a cards view, you can share precisely what you see. That is sort of a simple and safe approach that lets us get started. But clearly that's not going to be a sufficient publishing experience in the long term. Precisely how you go about scoping this, whether it's some way like you described to be able to flag these things as private, or whether it's the reverse, that you sort of flag certain things as publishable, it's still very unclear to us, because in theory, you can follow your references forever, right? If you have a sufficiently complicated graph, you can just keep following refs, starting from one point and ending up at the very other side of your graph. So it's an unsolved problem still. We have some thoughts, but I'm guessing a first stab at this will be something like what I initially described. You can share what you see.
So what you're showing us now, Olav?
So this is kind of cool. This is our help center. So to the right, you see the help center, like most of you probably hopefully have seen. We're hopefully soon we'll have a search bar here. But what we're seeing is that this is actually just tagged content, which we can actually use to build our help center. So you see, start here. So if I'll just, so it's live edited. See that? And I can change the pictures. I can say that what kind of layout it should have. Whoop. I can change the footer of it. I can go into the use cases, change stuff here. So it's basically just to show you that this is the power of the data model and the Tana graph. So you basically, we're not far from being able to build a lot of cool stuff.